The Book of Jasher, a captioned audiobook narrated by In His Word 2. The Book of Jasher, Chapter 81. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, besides the little ones and their wives. Also a mixed multitude went up with them, and flocks and herds, even much cattle. In the sojourning of the children of Israel, who dwelt in the land of Egypt in hard labor, was 210 years. And at the end of 210 years, the Lord brought forth the children of Israel from Egypt with a strong hand. And the children of Israel traveled from Egypt and from Goshen and from Ramses, and encamped in Succoth on the 15th day of the first month. And the Egyptians buried all their firstborn whom the Lord had smitten, and all the Egyptians buried their slain for 3 days. And the children of Israel traveled from Succoth and encamped in Etham at the end of the wilderness. And on the 3rd day after the Egyptians had buried their firstborn, many men rose up from Egypt and went after Israel to make them return to Egypt, for they repented that they had sent the Israelites away from their servitude. And one man said to his neighbor, Surely Moses and Aaron spoke to Pharaoh, saying, We will go a 3 days' journey in the wilderness and sacrifice to the Lord our God. Now therefore, let us rise up early in the morning and cause them to return. And it shall be that if they return with us to Egypt to their masters, then shall we know that there is faith in them. But if they will not return, then we will fight with them, and make them come back with a great power and a strong hand. And all the nobles of Pharaoh rose up in the morning, and with them about 700,000 men, and they went forth from Egypt on that day, and came to the place where the children of Israel were. And all the Egyptians saw, and behold, Moses and Aaron, and all the children of Israel were sitting before Pi-hahiroth, eating and drinking and celebrating the feast of the Lord. And all the Egyptians said to the children of Israel, Surely you said, We will go a journey for 3 days in the wilderness and sacrifice to our God and return. Now therefore this day makes 5 days since you went. Why do you not return to your masters? And Moses and Aaron answered them, saying, Because the Lord our God has testified in us, saying, You shall no more return to Egypt, but we will betake ourselves to a land flowing with milk and honey, as the Lord our God has sworn to our ancestors to give to us. And when the nobles of Egypt saw that the children of Israel did not hearken to them to return to Egypt, they girded themselves to fight with Israel. And the Lord strengthened the hearts of the children of Israel over the Egyptians, that they gave them a severe beating. And the battle was sore upon the Egyptians, and all the Egyptians fled from before the children of Israel, for many of them perished by the hand of Israel. And the nobles of Pharaoh went to Egypt and told Pharaoh, saying, The children of Israel have fled, and will no more return to Egypt. And in this manner did Moses and Aaron speak to us. And Pharaoh heard this thing, and his heart and the hearts of all his subjects were turned against Israel. And they repented that they had sent Israel, and all the Egyptians advised Pharaoh to pursue the children of Israel to make them come back to their burdens. And they said each man to his brother, What is this which we have done, that we have sent Israel from our servitude? And the Lord strengthened the hearts of all the Egyptians to pursue the Israelites, for the Lord desired to overthrow the Egyptians in the Red Sea. And Pharaoh rose up and harnessed his chariot, and he ordered all the Egyptians to assemble. Not one man was left excepting the little ones and the women. And all the Egyptians went forth with Pharaoh to pursue the children of Israel, and the camp of Egypt was an exceedingly large and heavy camp, about 100,000 men. And the whole of this camp went and pursued the children of Israel to bring them back to Egypt, and they reached them encamping by the Red Sea. And the children of Israel lifted up their eyes and beheld all the Egyptians pursuing them, and the children of Israel were greatly terrified at them. And the children of Israel cried to the Lord. And on account of the Egyptians, the children of Israel divided themselves into 4 divisions, and they were divided into their opinions, for they were afraid of the Egyptians. And Moses spoke to each of them. The first division was of the children of Reuben, Simeon, and Issachar, and they resolved to cast themselves into the sea, for they were exceedingly afraid of the Egyptians. And Moses said to them, Fear not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will effect this day for you. The second division was of the children of Zebulun, Benjamin, and Naphtali, and they resolved to go back to Egypt with the Egyptians. And Moses said to them, Fear not, for as you have seen the Egyptians this day, so shall you see them no more forever. The third division was of the children of Judah and Joseph, and they resolved to go meet the Egyptians to fight with them. And Moses said to them, Stand in your places, for the Lord will fight for you, and you shall remain silent. And the fourth division was of the children of Levi, Gad, and Asher, and they resolved to go into the midst of the Egyptians to confound them. And Moses said to them, Remain in your stations and fear not. Only call unto the Lord, that he may save you out of their hands. After this, Moses rose up from amidst the people, and he prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord God of the whole earth, save now thy people, whom thou didst bring forth from Egypt, and let not the Egyptians boast that power and might are theirs. So the Lord said to Moses, Why dost thou cry unto me? Speak to the children of Israel that they should proceed, and do thou stretch out thy rod upon the sea and divide it, and the children of Israel shall pass through it. And Moses did so, and he lifted up his rod upon the sea and divided it. And the waters of the sea were divided into 12 parts, and the children of Israel passed through on foot, with shoes, as a man would pass through a prepared road. And the Lord manifested to the children of Israel in his wonders in Egypt and in the sea by the hand of Moses and Aaron. And when the children of Israel had entered the sea, the Egyptians came after them, and the waters of the sea resumed upon them, and they all sank in the water. And not one man was left excepting Pharaoh, who gave thanks to the Lord and believed in him. Therefore the Lord did not cause him to perish at that time with the Egyptians. And the Lord ordered an angel to take him from amongst the Egyptians, who cast him upon the land of Neviah, and he reigned over it for a long time. And on that day the Lord saved Israel from the hand of Egypt, and all the children of Israel saw that the Egyptians had perished, And they beheld the great hand of the Lord, in what he had performed in Egypt and in the sea. Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, on the day when the Lord caused the Egyptians to fall before them. All Israel sang in concert, saying, I will sing to the Lord, for he is greatly exalted. The horse and his rider has he cast into the sea. Behold, it is written in the book of the law of God. After this, the children of Israel proceeded on their journey, and encamped in Marah. And the Lord gave to the children of Israel statutes and judgments in that place in Marah. And the Lord commanded the children of Israel to walk in all his ways, and to serve him. And they journeyed from Marah, and came to Elim. And in Elim were 12 springs of water, and 70 date trees. And the children encamped there by the waters. And they journeyed from Elim, and came to the wilderness of Sin, on the 15th day of the 2nd month, after their departure from Egypt. At that time the Lord gave manna to the children of Israel to eat, and the Lord caused food to rain from heaven for the children of Israel day by day. And the children of Israel ate manna for 40 years, all the days that they were in the wilderness, until they came to the land of Canaan to possess it. And they proceeded from the wilderness of Sin, and encamped in Alush. And they proceeded from Alush, and encamped in Rephidim. And when the children of Israel were in Rephidim, Amalek, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, the brother of Zepho, came to fight with Israel. And he brought with him 801,000 men, magicians and conjurers, and he prepared for battle with Israel in Rephidim. And they carried on a great and severe battle against Israel. And the Lord delivered Amalek and his people into the hands of Moses and the children of Israel, and into the hand of Joshua, the son of Nun, the Ephrathite, the servant of Moses. And the children of Israel smote Amalek and his people at the edge of the sword, but the battle was very sore upon the children of Israel. And the Lord said to Moses, Write this thing as a memorial for thee in a book, and place it in the hand of Joshua the son of Nun, thy servant. And thou shalt command the children of Israel, saying, When thou shalt come to the land of Canaan, thou shalt utterly efface the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses did so. And he took the book and wrote upon it these words, saying, Remember what Amalek has done to thee in the road when thou wentest forth from Egypt, who met thee in the road and smote thy rear, even those that were feeble behind thee when thou wast faint and weary. Therefore it shall be, when the Lord thy God shall have given thee rest from all thine enemies round about in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget it. And the king who shall have pity on Amalek, or upon his memory, or upon his seed, behold, I will require it of him, and I will cut him off from amongst his people. And Moses wrote all these things in a book, and he enjoined the children of Israel respecting all these matters. Chapter 82. And the children of Israel proceeded from Rephidim, and they encamped in the wilderness of Sinai, in the 3rd month from their going forth from Egypt. At that time came Reuel the Midianite, the father-in-law of Moses, with Zipporah his daughter, and her 2 sons. For he had heard of the wonders of the Lord which he had done to Israel, that he had delivered them from the hand of Egypt. And Reuel came to Moses to the wilderness where he was encamped, where was the mountain of God. And Moses went forth to meet his father-in-law with great honor, and all Israel was with him. And Reuel and his children remained amongst the Israelites for many days. And Reuel knew the Lord from that day forward. In the 3rd month from the children of Israel's departure from Egypt, on the 6th day thereof, the Lord gave to Israel the 10 commandments on Mount Sinai. And all Israel heard these commandments, and all Israel rejoiced exceedingly in the Lord on that day. And the glory of the Lord rested upon Mount Sinai, and he called to Moses, and Moses came in the midst of a cloud and ascended the mountain. And Moses was upon the mount 40 days and 40 nights. He ate no bread and drank no water. And the Lord instructed him in the statutes and judgments in order to teach the children of Israel. And the Lord wrote the 10 commandments which he had commanded the children of Israel upon 2 tablets of stone, which he gave to Moses to command the children of Israel. And at the end of 40 days and 40 nights, when the Lord had finished speaking to Moses on Mount Sinai, then the Lord gave to Moses the tablets of stone written with the finger of God. And when the children of Israel saw that Moses tarried to come down from the mount, they gathered around Aaron and said, As for this man Moses, we know not what has become of him. Now therefore rise up, make unto us a god, who shall go before us, so that thou shalt not die. And Aaron was greatly afraid of the people, and he ordered them to bring gold, and he made it into a molten calf for the people. And the Lord said to Moses, before he had come down from the mount, Get thee down, for thy people, whom thou didst bring forth from Egypt, have corrupted themselves. They have made to themselves a molten calf, and have bowed down to it. Now therefore leave me, that I may consume them from off the earth, for they are stiff-necked people. And Moses besought the countenance of the Lord, and he prayed to the Lord for the people on account of the calf which they had made. And he afterward ascended from the mount, in his hands were the 2 tablets of stone, which God had given him to command the Israelites. And when Moses approached the camp, and saw the calf which the people had made, the anger of Moses was kindled, and he broke the tablets under the mount. And Moses came to the camp, and he took the calf and burned it with fire, and ground it till it became fine dust, and strewed it upon the water, and gave it to the Israelites to drink. And there died of the people by the swords of each other about 3,000 men who had made the calf. And on the morrow Moses said to the people, I will go up to the Lord, peradventure I may make atonement for your sins which you have sinned to the Lord. And Moses again went up to the Lord, and he remained with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. And during the 40 days did Moses entreat the Lord in behalf of the children of Israel. And the Lord hearkened to the prayer of Moses, and the Lord was entreated of him in behalf of Israel. Then spake the Lord, to Moses to hew 2 stone tablets, and to bring them up to the Lord, who would write upon them the 10 commandments. And Moses did so. And he came down and hewed the 2 tablets, and went up to Mount Sinai to the Lord. And the Lord wrote the 10 commandments upon the tablets. And Moses remained yet with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. And the Lord instructed him in statutes and judgments to impart to Israel. And the Lord commanded him respecting the children of Israel that they should make a sanctuary for the Lord, that his name might rest therein. And the Lord showed him the likeness of the sanctuary, and the likeness of all its vessels. And at the end of the 40 days Moses came down from the mount, and the 2 tablets were in his hand. And Moses came to the children of Israel, and spoke to them all the words of the Lord. And he taught them laws, statutes, and judgments, which the Lord had taught him. And Moses told the children of Israel the word of the Lord, that a sanctuary should be made for him to dwell amongst the children of Israel. And the people rejoiced greatly at all the good which the Lord had spoken to them through Moses. And they said, We will do all that the Lord has spoken to thee. And the people rose up like one man, and they made generous offerings to the sanctuary of the Lord. And each man brought the offering of the Lord for the work of the sanctuary, and for all its service. And the children of Israel brought each man of all that was found in his possession for the work of the sanctuary of the Lord, gold, silver, and brass, and everything that was serviceable for the sanctuary. And all the wise men who were practiced in work came and made the sanctuary of the Lord, according to all that the Lord had commanded, every man in the work in which he had been practiced. And all the wise men in heart made the sanctuary, and its furniture, and all the vessels for the holy service, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And the work of the sanctuary of the tabernacle was completed at the end of 5 months, and the children of Israel did all that the Lord had commanded Moses. And they brought the sanctuary and all its furniture to Moses, like unto the representation which the Lord had shown to Moses. So did the children of Israel. And Moses saw the work, and behold, they did it as the Lord had commanded him. So Moses blessed them. The Book of Jasher, a captioned audiobook narrated by In His Word 2. Chapter 83. And in the 12th month, in the 23rd day of the month, Moses took Aaron and his sons, and he dressed them in their garments, and anointed them, and did unto them as the Lord had commanded him. And Moses brought up all the offerings which the Lord had on that day commanded him. And Moses afterward took Aaron and his sons, and said to them, For 7 days shall you remain at the door of the tabernacle, for thus am I commanded. And Aaron and his sons did all that the Lord had commanded them through Moses, and they remained for 7 days at the door of the tabernacle. And on the 8th day, being the 1st day of the 1st month, in the 2nd year from the Israelites' departure from Egypt, Moses erected the sanctuary. And Moses put up all the furniture of the tabernacle, and all the furniture of the sanctuary, and he did all that the Lord had commanded him. And Moses called to Aaron and his sons, and they brought the burnt offering and the sin offering for themselves and the children of Israel, as the Lord had commanded Moses. On that day the 2 sons of Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, took strange fire and brought it before the Lord, who had not commanded them. And a fire went forth from them, and a fire went forth from before the Lord and consumed them, and they died before the Lord on that day. Then on the day when Moses had completed to erect the sanctuary, the princes of the children of Israel began to bring their offerings before the Lord for the dedication of the altar. And they brought up their offerings, each prince for 1 day, a prince each day for 12 days. And all the offerings which they brought, each man in his day, 1 silver charger weighing 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour, mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 spoon weighing 10 shekels of gold, full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offering 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 lambs of a year old. Thus did the 12 princes of Israel day by day, each man in his day. And it was after this, in the 13th day of the month, that Moses commanded the children of Israel to observe the Passover. And the children of Israel kept the Passover in its season in the 14th day of the month. As the Lord had commanded Moses, so did the children of Israel. In the 2nd month, on the 1st day thereof, the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Number the heads of all the males of the children of Israel from 20 years old and upward, thou and thy brother Aaron and the 12 princes of Israel. And Moses did so, and Aaron came with the 12 princes of Israel, and they numbered the children of Israel in the wilderness of Sinai. And the numbers of the children of Israel by the houses of their fathers from 20 years old and upward were 603,550. But the children of Levi were not numbered amongst their brethren, the children of Israel. And the number of all the males of the children of Israel from 1 month old and upward was 22,273. And the number of the children of Levi from 1 month old and above was 22,000. And Moses placed the priests and the Levites, each man to his service and to his burden, to serve the sanctuary of the tabernacle, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And on the 20th day of the month, the cloud was taken away from the tabernacle of testimony. At that time the children of Israel continued their journey from the wilderness of Sinai, and they took a journey of 3 days, and the cloud rested upon the wilderness of Paran, where the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, for they had provoked the Lord in asking him for meat, that they might eat. And the Lord hearkened to their voice, and gave them meat, which they ate for 1 month. But after this the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he smote them with a great slaughter, and they were buried there in that place. And the children of Israel called that place Kibroth Hattaavah, because there they buried the people that lusted flesh. And they departed from Kibroth Hattaavah, and pitched in Hazeroth, which is in the wilderness of Paran. And whilst the children of Israel were in Hazeroth, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Miriam on account of Moses, and she became leprous, white as snow. And she was confined without the camp for 7 days, until she had been received again after her leprosy. The children of Israel afterward departed from Hazeroth, and pitched in the end of the wilderness of Paran. At that time the Lord spoke to Moses to send 12 men from the children of Israel, 1 man to a tribe, to go and explore the land of Canaan. And Moses sent the 12 men, and they came to the land of Canaan to search and examine it. And they explored the whole land from the wilderness of Sin to Rechob, as thou comest to Chemoth. And at the end of 40 days they came to Moses and Aaron, and they brought him word as it was in their hearts. And 10 of the men brought up an evil report to the children of Israel of the land which they had explored, saying, It is better for us to return to Egypt than to go to this land, a land that consumes its inhabitants. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were of those that explored the land, said, The land is exceedingly good. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us to this land and give it to us, for it is a land flowing with milk and honey. But the children of Israel would not hearken to them, and they hearkened to the words of the 10 men who had brought up an evil report of the land. And the Lord heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, and he was angry and swore, saying, Surely not 1 man of this wicked generation shall see the land from 20 years old and upward, excepting Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. But surely this wicked generation shall perish in this wilderness, and their children shall come to the land, and they shall possess it. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness for 40 years, until the end of that wicked generation, because they did not follow the Lord. And the people dwelt in the wilderness of Paran a long time, and afterward proceeded to the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Chapter 84. At that time Korah the son of Jasher, the son of Kehath, the son of Levi, took many men of the children of Israel, and they rose up and quarreled with Moses and Aaron and the whole congregation. And the Lord was angry with them, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, with their houses and all belonging to them, and all the men belonging to Korah. And after this God made the people go round by the way of Mount Seir for a long time. At that time the Lord said to Moses, Provoke not a war against the children of Esau, for I will not give to you of anything belonging to them, as much as the sole of the foot could tread upon, for I have given Mount Seir for an inheritance to Esau. Therefore did the children of Esau fight against the children of Seir in former times, and the Lord had delivered the children of Seir into the hands of the children of Esau, and destroyed them from before them. And the children of Esau dwelt in their stead unto this day. Therefore the Lord said to the children of Israel, Fight not against the children of Esau your brethren, for nothing in their land belongs to you, but you may buy food of them for money, and eat it, and you may buy water of them for money, and drink it. And the children of Israel did according to the word of the Lord. And the children of Israel went about the wilderness, going round by the way of Mount Sinai for a long time, and touched not the children of Esau, and they continued in that district for 19 years. At that time died Latinus, king of the children of Chittim, in the 45th year of his reign, which is the 14th year of the children of Israel's departure from Egypt. And they buried him in his place which he had built for himself in the land of Chittim. And Abimnus reigned in his place for 38 years. And the children of Israel passed the boundary of the children of Esau in those days, at the end of 19 years, and they came and passed the road of the wilderness of Moab. And the Lord said to Moses, Besiege not Moab, do not fight against them, for I will give you nothing of their land. And the children of Israel passed the road of the wilderness of Moab for 19 years, and they did not fight against them. And in the 36th year of the children of Israel's departing from Egypt, the Lord smote the heart of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and he waged war, and he went forth to fight against the children of Moab. And Sihon sent messengers to Beor, the son of Janeas, the son of Balaam, counselor to the king of Egypt, and to Balaam his son, to curse Moab, in order that it might be delivered into the hand of Sihon. And the messengers went and brought Beor the son of Janeas and Balaam his son from Pethor in Mesopotamia. So Beor and Balaam his son came to the city of Sihon, and they cursed Moab and their king in the presence of Sihon, king of the Amorites. So Sihon went out with his whole army, and he went to Moab and fought against them, and he subdued them, and the Lord delivered them into his hands. And Sihon slew the king of Moab. And Sihon took all the cities of Moab in the battle. He also took Heshbon from them, for Heshbon was one of the cities of Moab. And Sihon placed his princes and his nobles in Heshbon, and Heshbon belonged to Sihon in those days. Therefore the parable speakers Beor and Balaam his son uttered these words, saying, Come unto Heshbon, the city of Sihon will be built and established. Woe unto thee, Moab, thou art lost, O people of Chemosh! Behold, it is written upon the book of the law of God. And when Sihon had conquered Moab, he placed guards in the cities which he had taken from Moab, and a considerable number of the children of Moab fell in the battle into the hand of Sihon. And he made a great capture of them, sons and daughters, and he slew their king. So Sihon turned back to his own land. And Sihon gave numerous presents of silver and gold to Beor and Balaam his son, and he dismissed them. And they went to Mesopotamia to their home and country. At that time all the children of Israel passed from the road of the wilderness of Moab, and returned and surrounded the wilderness of Edom. So the whole congregation came to the wilderness of Sin in the first month of the 40th year from their departure from Egypt. And the children of Israel dwelt there in Kadesh of the wilderness of Sin, and Miriam died there, and she was buried there. At that time Moses sent messengers to Hadad, king of Edom, saying, Thus says thy brother Israel, Let me pass, I pray thee, through thy land. We will not pass through field or vineyard. We will not drink the water of the well. We will walk in the king's road. And Edom said to him, Thou shalt not pass through my country. And Edom went forth to meet the children of Israel with a mighty people. And the children of Esau refused to let the children of Israel pass through their land. So the Israelites removed from them and fought not against them. For before this the Lord had commanded the children of Israel, saying, You shall not fight against the children of Esau. Therefore the Israelites removed from them and did not fight against them. So the children of Israel departed from Kadesh, and all the people came to Mount Hor. At that time the Lord said to Moses, Tell thy brother Aaron that he shall die there, for he shall not come to the land which I have given to the children of Israel. And Aaron went up at the command of the Lord to Mount Hor in the 40th year, in the 5th month, in the 1st day of the month. And Aaron was 123 years old when he died in Mount Hor. The Book of Jasher, a captioned audiobook narrated by In His Word 2. Chapter 85. And King Arad the Canaanite, who dwelt in the south, heard that the Israelites had come by the way of the spies, and he arranged his forces to fight against the Israelites. And the children of Israel were greatly afraid of him, for he had a great and heavy army. So the children of Israel resolved to return to Egypt. And the children of Israel turned back about a distance of 3 days' journey into Masrath Beni Jachan, for they were greatly afraid on account of the king Arad. And the children of Israel would not get back to their places, so they remained in Beni Jachan for 30 days. And when the children of Levi saw that the children of Israel would not turn back, they were jealous for the sake of the Lord, and they rose up and fought against the Israelites their brethren, and slew of them a great body, and forced them to turn back to their place, Mount Hor. And when they returned, King Arad was still arranging his host for battle against the Israelites. And Israel vowed a vow, saying, If thou wilt deliver this people into my hand, then I will utterly destroy their cities. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Israel, and he delivered the Canaanites into their hand, and he utterly destroyed them and their cities, and he called the name of the place Hormah. And the children of Israel journeyed from Mount Hor and pitched in Oboth. And they journeyed from Oboth, and they pitched at Abarim, in the border of Moab. And the children of Israel sent to Moab, saying, Let us pass now through thy land into our place. But the children of Moab would not suffer the children of Israel to pass through their land. For the children of Moab were greatly afraid, lest the children of Israel should do unto them as Sihon the king of the Amorites had done to them, who had taken their land and had slain many of them. Therefore Moab would not suffer the Israelites to pass through his land. And the Lord commanded the children of Israel, saying, that they should not fight against Moab. So the Israelites removed from Moab. And the children of Israel journeyed from the border of Moab, and they came to the other side of Arnon, the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. And they pitched in the border of Sihon, king of the Amorites, in the wilderness of Kedemoth. And the children of Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, Let us pass through thy land. We will not turn into the fields or into the vineyards. We will go along by the king's highway until we shall have passed thy border. But Sihon would not suffer the Israelites to pass. So Sihon collected all the people of the Amorites and went forth into the wilderness to meet the children of Israel. And he fought against Israel in Gahaz. And the Lord delivered Sihon, king of the Amorites, into the hand of the children of Israel. And Israel smote all the people of Sihon with the edge of the sword, and avenged the cause of Moab. And the children of Israel took possession of the land of Sihon from Aram into Jabbok unto the children of Ammon, and they took all the spoil of the cities. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites. And all the children of Israel resolved to fight against the children of Ammon, to take their land also. So the Lord said to the children of Israel, Do not besiege the children of Ammon, neither stir up battle against them, for I will give nothing to you of their land. And the children of Israel hearkened to the word of the Lord, and did not fight against the children of Ammon. And the children of Israel turned, and went up by the way of Bashan to the land of Og, king of Bashan. And Og, the king of Bashan, went out to meet the Israelites in battle. And he had with him many valiant men, and a very strong force from the people of the Amorites. And Og, king of Bashan, was a very powerful man, but Naaron his son was exceedingly powerful, even stronger than he was. And Og said in his heart, Behold, now the whole camp of Israel takes up space of 3 parsa. Now will I smite them at once, without sword or spear. And Og went up to Mount Gahaz, and took therefrom one large stone, the length of which was 3 parsa, and he placed it on his head, and resolved to throw it upon the camp of the children of Israel, to smite all the Israelites with that stone. And the angel of the Lord came and pierced the stone upon the head of Og, and the stone fell upon the neck of Og, that Og fell to the earth on account of the weight of the stone upon his neck. At that time the Lord said to the children of Israel, Be not afraid of him, for I have given him and all his people and all his land into your hand, and you shall do to him as you did to Sihon. And Moses went down to him with a small number of the children of Israel, and Moses smote Og with a stick at the ankles of his feet, and slew him. The children of Israel afterward pursued the children of Og and all his people, and they beat and destroyed them until there was no remnant left of them. Moses afterward sent some of the children of Israel to spy out Jasher, for Jasher was a very famous city. And the spies went to Jasher and explored it. And the spies trusted in the Lord, and they fought against the men of Jasher. And these men took Jasher and its villages, and the Lord delivered them into their hand, and they drove out the Amorites who had been there. And the children of Israel took the land of the 2 kings of the Amorites, 60 cities, which were on the other side of the Jordan, from the brook of Arnon unto Mount Hermon. And the children of Israel journeyed and came into the plain of Moab, which is on this side of Jordan by Jericho. And the children of Moab heard all the evil which the children of Israel had done to the 2 kings of the Amorites, to Sihon and Og. So all the men of Moab were greatly afraid of the Israelites. And the elders of Moab said, Behold, the 2 kings of the Amorites, Sihon and Og, who were more powerful than all the kings of the earth, could not stand against the children of Israel. How then can we stand before them? Surely they sent us a message before now to pass through our land on their way, and we would not suffer them. Now they will turn upon us with their heavy swords and destroy us. And Moab was distressed on account of the children of Israel, and they were greatly afraid of them. And they counseled together what was to be done to the children of Israel. And the elders of Moab resolved, and took one of their men, Balak the son of Zippor, the Moabite, and made him king over them at that time. And Balak was a very wise man. And the elders of Moab rose up and sent to the children of Midian to make peace with them. For a great battle and enmity had been in those days between Moab and Midian. From the days of Hadad, the son of Bedad, king of Edom, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, unto these days. And the children of Moab sent to the children of Midian, and they made peace with them. And the elders of Midian came to the land of Moab to make peace on behalf of the children of Midian. And the elders of Moab counseled with the elders of Midian what to do in order to save their lives from Israel. And all the children of Moab said to the elders of Midian, Now therefore the children of Israel lick up all that are round about us, as the ox licks up the grass of the field. For thus did they do to the 2 kings of the Amorites, who are stronger than we are. And the elders of Midian said to Moab, We have heard that at the time when Sihon, king of the Amorites, fought against you, when he prevailed over you and took your land, he had sent to Beor the son of Janeas, and to Balaam his son from Mesopotamia, and they came and cursed you. Therefore did the hand of Sihon prevail over you, that he took your land. Now therefore send you also to Balaam his son, for he still remains in his land, and give him his hire, that he may come and curse the people of whom you are afraid. So the elders of Moab heard this thing, and it pleased them to send to Balaam the son of Beor. So Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent messengers to Balaam, saying, Behold, there is a people come out from Egypt. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. Now, therefore, come and curse this people for me, for they are too mighty for me. Peradventure I shall prevail to fight against them, and drive them out. For I heard that he whom thou blessest is blessed, and whom thou cursest is cursed. So the messengers of Balak went to Balaam, and brought Balaam to curse the people to fight against Moab. And Balaam came to Balak to curse Israel. And the Lord said to Balaam, Curse not this people, for it is blessed. And Balak urged Balaam day by day to curse Israel. But Balaam hearkened not to Balak on the account of the word of the Lord which he had spoken to Balaam. And when Balak saw that Balaam would not accede to his wish, he rose up and went home. And Balaam also returned to his land, and he went from there to Midian. And the children of Israel journeyed from the plain of Moab, and pitched by the Jordan from Beth Jesimoth even unto Abel Shittim, at the end of the plains of Moab. And when the children of Israel abode in the plain of Shittim, they began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. And the children of Israel approached Moab, and the children of Moab pitched their tents opposite to the camp of the children of Israel. And the children of Moab were afraid of the children of Israel, and the children of Moab took all their daughters and their wives of beautiful aspect and comely appearance, and dressed them in gold and silver and costly garments. And the children of Moab seated those women at the door of their tents, in order that the children of Israel might see them and turn to them, and not fight against Moab. And the children of Moab did this thing to the children of Israel, and every man placed his wife and daughter at the door of his tent. And all the children of Israel saw the act of the children of Moab. And the children of Israel turned to the daughters of Moab, and coveted them, and they went to them. And it came to pass that when a Hebrew came to the door of the tent of Moab, and saw a daughter of Moab, and desired her in his heart, and spoke with her at the door of the tent that which he desired, whilst they were speaking together, the men of the tent would come out and speak to the Hebrew like unto these words. Surely you know that we are brethren. We are all descendants of Lot, and the descendants of Abraham his brother. Wherefore then will you not remain with us? And wherefore will you not eat our bread and our sacrifice? And when the children of Moab had thus overwhelmed him with their speeches, and enticed him by their flattering words, they seated him in the tent, and cooked and sacrificed for him, and he ate of their sacrifice and of their bread. They then gave him wine, and he drank and became intoxicated. And they placed before him a beautiful damsel, and he did with her as he liked, for he knew not what he was doing, as he had drunk plentifully of the wine. Thus did the children of Moab to Israel in that place, in the plain of Shittim. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel on account of this matter. And he sent a pestilence amongst them, and there died of the Israelites 24,000 men. Now there was a man of the children of Simeon, whose name was Zimri, the son of Salu, who connected himself with the Midianite Cosbi, the daughter of Zur, king of Midian, in the sight of all the children of Israel. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw this wicked thing which Zimri had done. And he took a spear and rose up and went after them, and pierced them both and slew them. And the pestilence ceased from the children of Israel. Chapter 86. At that time after the pestilence, the Lord said to Moses, and to Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, saying, Number the heads of the whole community of the children of Israel, from 20 years old and upward, all that went forth in the army. And Moses and Eleazar numbered the children of Israel after their families, and the number of all Israel was 700,730. And the number of the children of Levi from 1 month old and upward was 23,000, and amongst these there was not a man of those numbered by Moses and Aaron in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord had told them that they would die in the wilderness, so they all died, and not one had been left of them excepting Caleb the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua the son of Nun. And it was after this that the Lord said to Moses, Say unto the children of Israel to avenge upon Midian the cause of their brethren the children of Israel. And Moses did so, and the children of Israel chose from amongst them 12,000 men, beginning 1,000 to a tribe, and they went to Midian. And the children of Israel warred against Midian, and they slew every male, also the 5 princes of Midian, and Balaam the son of Beor did they slay with the sword. And the children of Israel took the wives of Midian captive, with their little ones and their cattle, and all belonging to them. And they took all the spoil and all the prey, and they brought it to Moses and to Eleazar to the plains of Moab. And Moses and Eleazar and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them with joy. And they divided all the spoil of Midian, and the children of Israel had been revenged upon Midian for the cause of their brethren, the children of Israel. Chapter 87. At that time the Lord said to Moses, Behold, thy days are approaching to an end. Take now Joshua the son of Nun thy servant, and place him in the tabernacle, and I will command him. And Moses did so. And the Lord appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of cloud, and the pillar of cloud stood at the entrance of the tabernacle. And the Lord commanded Joshua the son of Nun, and said unto him, Be strong and courageous, for thou shalt bring the children of Israel into the land which I swore to give them, and I will be with thee. And Moses said to Joshua, Be strong and courageous, for thou wilt make the children of Israel inherit the land, and the Lord will be with thee. He will not leave thee nor forsake thee. Be not afraid nor disheartened. And Moses called to all the children of Israel and said to them, You have seen all the good which the Lord your God has done for you in the wilderness. Now therefore observe all the words of this law, and walk in the way of the Lord your God. turn not from the way which the Lord has commanded you, either to the right or to the left. And Moses taught the children of Israel statutes and judgments, and laws to do in the land, as the Lord had commanded him. And he taught them the way of the Lord and his laws. Behold, they are written upon the book of the law of God, which he gave to the children of Israel by the hand of Moses. And Moses finished commanding the children of Israel, and the Lord said to him, saying, Go up to the Mount Abarim, and die there, and be gathered unto thy people as Aaron thy brother was gathered. And Moses went up as the Lord had commanded him, and he died there in the land of Moab by the order of the Lord, in the 40th year from the Israelites going forth from the land of Egypt. And the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab for 30 days, and the days of weeping and mourning for Moses were completed. The Book of Jasher, a captioned audiobook narrated by In His Word 2. Chapter 88. And it was after the death of Moses that the Lord said to Joshua the son of Nun, saying, Rise up and pass the Jordan to the land which I have given thee to the children of Israel, and thou shalt make the children of Israel inherit the land. Every place upon which the sole of your feet shall tread shall belong to you. From the wilderness of Lebanon unto the great river, the river of Perath, shall be your boundary. No man shall stand up against thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so will I be with thee. Only be strong and of good courage to observe all the law which Moses commanded thee. Turn not from the way either to the right or to the left, in order that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest. And Joshua commanded the officers of Israel, saying, Pass through the camp and command the people, saying, Prepare for yourselves provisions, for in 3 days more you will pass the Jordan to possess the land. And the officers of the children of Israel did so, and they commanded the people, and they did all that Joshua had commanded. And Joshua sent 2 men to spy out the land of Jericho, and the men went and spied out Jericho. And at the end of 7 days they came to Joshua in the camp and said to him, The Lord has delivered the whole land into our hand, and the inhabitants thereof are melted with fear because of us. And it came to pass after that Joshua rose up in the morning, and all Israel with him. And they journeyed from Shittim, and Joshua and all Israel with him passed the Jordan. And Joshua was 82 years old when he passed the Jordan with Israel. And the people went up from Jordan on the 10th day of the 1st month, and they encamped in Gilgal at the eastern corner of Jericho. And the children of Israel kept the Passover in Gilgal, in the plains of Jericho, on the 14th day of the month, as it is written in the law of Moses. And the manna ceased at that time on the morrow of the Passover, and there was no more manna for the children of Israel. And they ate of the produce of the land of Canaan. And Jericho was entirely closed against the children of Israel. No one came out or went in. And it was in the 2nd month, on the 1st day of the month, that the Lord said to Joshua, Rise up, behold, I have given Jericho into thy hand with all the people thereof. And all your fighting men shall go round the city once each day. Thus shall you do for 6 days. And the priests shall blow upon trumpets. And when you shall hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall give a great shouting, that the walls of the city shall fall down. all the people shall go up every man against his opponent. And Joshua did so according to all that the Lord had commanded him. And on the 7th day they went round the city 7 times, and the priests blew upon trumpets. And at the 7th round Joshua said to the people, Shout, for the Lord has delivered the whole city into our hands. Only the city and all that it contains shall be accursed to the Lord, and keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest you make the camp of Israel accursed and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and brass and iron shall be consecrated to the Lord. They shall come into the treasury of the Lord. And the people blew upon trumpets, and made a great shouting. And the walls of Jericho fell down, and all the people went up, every man straight before him. And they took the city, and utterly destroyed all that was in it, both man and woman, young and old, ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword. And they burned the whole city with fire. Only the vessels of silver and gold and brass and iron they put into the treasury of the Lord. And Joshua swore at that time, saying, Cursed be the man who builds Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and in his youngest son shall he set up the gates thereof. And Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, the son of Judah, dealt treacherously in the accursed thing. And he took of the accursed thing and hid it in the tent. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. And it was after this, when the children of Israel had returned from burning Jericho, Joshua sent men to spy out also Ai, and to fight against it. And the men went up and spied out Ai. And they returned and said, Let not all the people go up with thee to Ai. Only let about 3,000 men go up and smite the city, for the men thereof are but few. And Joshua did so. And there went up with him of the children of Israel about 3,000 men, and they fought against the men of Ai. And the battle was severe against Israel, and the men of Ai smote 36 men of Israel, and the children of Israel fled from before the men of Ai. And when Joshua saw this thing, he tore his garments and fell upon his face to the ground before the Lord, he with the elders of Israel, and they put dust upon their heads. And Joshua said, Why, O Lord, didst thou bring this people over the Jordan? What shall I say after the Israelites have turned their backs against their enemies? Now therefore all the Canaanites, inhabitants of the land, will hear this thing, and surround us and cut off our name. And the Lord said to Joshua, Why dost thou fall upon thy face? Rise, get thee off, for the Israelites have sinned, and taken of the accursed thing. I will no more be with them unless they destroy the accursed thing from amongst them. And Joshua rose up and assembled the people, and brought the Urim by the order of the Lord, and the tribe of Judah was taken, and Achan the son of Carmi was taken. And Joshua said to Achan, Tell me, my son, what hast thou done? And Achan said, I saw amongst the spoil a goodly garment of Shinar, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight. I coveted them, and took them, and behold, they are all hid in the earth in the midst of the tent. And Joshua sent men, who went and took them from the tent of Achan, and they brought them to Joshua. And Joshua took Achan and these utensils, and his sons and daughters, and all belonging to him, and they brought them into the valley of Achor. And Joshua burned them there with fire, and all the Israelites stoned Achan with stones, and they raised over him a heap of stones. Therefore did he call that place the valley of Achor. So the Lord's anger was appeased, and Joshua afterward came to the city and fought against it. And the Lord said to Joshua, Fear not, neither be thou dismayed. Behold, I have given into thy hand Ai, her king and her people, and thou shalt do unto them as thou didst to Jericho and her king. Only the spoil thereof and the cattle thereof shall you take for a prey for yourselves. Lay an ambush for the city behind it. So Joshua did according to the word of the Lord, and he chose from amongst the sons of war 30,000 valiant men, and he sent them, and they lay ambush for the city. And he commanded them, saying, When you shall see us, we will flee before them with cunning, and they will pursue us. You shall then rise out of the ambush and take the city. And they did so. And Joshua fought, and the men of the city went out toward Israel, not knowing that they were lying in ambush for them behind the city. And Joshua and all the Israelites feigned themselves wearied out before them, and they fled by the way of the wilderness with cunning. And the men of Ai gathered all the people who were in the city to pursue the Israelites. And they went out and were drawn away from the city. Not one remained. And they left the city open and pursued the Israelites. And those who were lying in ambush rose up out of their places and hastened to come to the city, and took it and set it on fire. And the men of Ai turned back, and behold, the smoke of the city ascended to the skies, and they had no means of retreating, either one way or the other. And all the men of Ai were in the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that side, and they smote them so that not one of them remained. And the children of Israel took Milosh, king of Ai, alive, and they brought him to Joshua, and Joshua hanged him on a tree, and he died. And the children of Israel returned to the city after having burned it, and they smote all those that were in it with the edge of the sword. And the number of those that had fallen of the men of Ai, both man and woman, was 12,000. Only the cattle and the spoil of the city they took to themselves, according to the word of the Lord to Joshua. And all the kings on this side of the Jordan, all the kings of Canaan, heard of the evil which the children of Israel had done to Jericho and to Ai, and they gathered themselves together to fight against Israel. Only the inhabitants of Gibeon were greatly afraid of fighting against the Israelites, lest they should perish. So they acted cunningly, and they came to Joshua and to all Israel, and said unto them, We have come from a distant land. Now therefore make a covenant with us. And the inhabitants of Gibeon overreached the children of Israel, and the children of Israel made a covenant with them, and they made peace with them. And the princes of the congregation swore unto them. But afterward the children of Israel knew that they were neighbors to them, and were dwelling amongst them. But the children of Israel slew them not, for they had sworn to them by the Lord, and they became hewers of wood and drawers of water. And Joshua said to them, Why did you deceive me to do this thing to us? And they answered him, saying, Because it was told to thy servants all that you had done to all the kings of the Amorites, and we were greatly afraid of our lives, and we did this thing. And Joshua appointed them on that day to hew wood and to draw water, and he divided them for slaves to all the tribes of Israel. And when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, heard all that the children of Israel had done to Jericho and Ai, he sent to Hoham, king of Hebron, and to Piram, king at Jarmuth, and to Japhia, king of Lachish, and to Deber, king of Eglon, saying, Come up to me and help me, that we may smite the children of Israel and the inhabitants of Gibeon, who have made peace with the children of Israel. And they gathered themselves together, and the 5 kings of the Amorites went up with all their camps, a mighty people, numerous as the sand of the seashore. And all these kings came and camped before Gibeon, and they began to fight against the inhabitants of Gibeon. And all the men of Gibeon sent to Joshua, saying, Come up quickly to us and help us, for all the kings of the Amorites have gathered together to fight against us. And Joshua and all the fighting people went up from Gilgal, and Joshua came suddenly to them, and smote these 5 kings with a great slaughter. And the Lord confounded them before the children at Israel, who smote them with a terrible slaughter in Gibeon, and pursued them along the way that goes up to Beth-horon unto Makkedah. And they fled from before the children of Israel. And whilst they were fleeing, the Lord sent upon them hailstones from heaven, and more of them died by the hailstones than by the slaughter of the children of Israel. And the children of Israel pursued them, and they still smote them in the road, going on and smiting them. And when they were smiting, the day was declining toward evening. And Joshua said in the sight of all the people, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and the moon in the valley of Ajalon, until the nation shall have revenged itself upon its enemies. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Joshua, and the sun stood still in the midst of the heavens, and it stood still 36 moments. And the moon also stood still, and hastened not to go down a whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened to the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. Chapter 89. Then spoke Joshua this song on the day that the Lord had given the Amorites into the hand of Joshua and the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of all Israel, Thou hast done mighty things, O Lord, thou hast performed great deeds. Who is like unto thee? My lips shall sing to thy name. My goodness and my fortress, my high tower, I will sing a new song unto thee. With thanksgiving will I sing to thee. Thou art the strength of my salvation. All the kings of the earth shall praise thee. The princes of the world shall sing to thee. The children of Israel shall rejoice in thy salvation. They shall sing and praise thy power. To thee, O Lord, did we confide. We said, Thou art our God. For thou wast our shelter and strong tower against our enemies. To thee we cried, and were not ashamed. In thee we trusted, and were delivered. When we cried unto thee, thou didst hear our voice. Thou didst deliver our souls from the sword. Thou didst show unto us thy grace. Thou didst give unto us thy salvation. Thou didst rejoice our hearts with thy strength. Thou didst go forth for our salvation. With thine arm thou didst redeem thy people. Thou didst answer us from the heavens of thy holiness. Thou didst save us from 10,000s of people. The sun and the moon stood still in heaven, and thou didst stand in thy wrath against our oppressors, and didst command thy judgments over them. All the princes of the earth stood up. The kings of the nations had gathered themselves together. They were not moved at thy presence. They desired thy battles. Thou didst rise against them in thine anger, and didst bring down thy wrath upon them. Thou didst destroy them in thine anger, and cut them off in thine heart. Nations have been consumed with thy fury. Kingdoms have declined because of thy wrath. Thou didst wound kings in the day of thine anger. Thou didst pour out thy fury upon them. Thy wrathful anger took hold of them. Thou didst turn their iniquity upon them, and didst cut them off in their wickedness. They did spread a trap, they fell therein. In the net they hid, their foot was caught. Thine hand was ready for all thine enemies who said, through their sword they possessed the land. Through their arm they dwelt in the city. Thou didst fill their faces with shame. Thou didst bring their horns down to the ground. Thou didst terrify them in thy wrath, and didst destroy them in thy anger. The earth trembled and shook at the sound of thy storm over them. Thou didst not withhold their souls from death, and didst bring down their lives to the grave. Thou didst pursue them in thy storm. Thou didst consume them in thy whirlwind. Thou didst turn their rain into hail. They fell in deep pits, so that they could not rise. Their carcasses were like rubbish cast out in the middle of the streets. They were consumed and destroyed in thine anger. Thou didst save thy people with thy might. Therefore our hearts rejoice in thee. Our souls exult in thy salvation. Our tongue shall relate thy might. We will sing and praise thy wondrous works. For thou didst save us from our enemies. Thou didst deliver us from those who rose up against us. Thou didst destroy them from before us, and depress them beneath our feet. Thus shall all thine enemies perish, O Lord, and the wicked shall be like chaff driven by the wind, and thy beloved shall be like trees planted by the waters. So Joshua and all Israel with him returned to the camp in Gilgal, after having smitten all the kings, so that not a remnant was left of them. And the 5 kings fled alone on foot from battle, and hid themselves in a cave. And Joshua sought for them in the field of battle, and did not find them. And it was afterward told to Joshua, saying, The kings are found, and behold, they are hidden in a cave. And Joshua said, Appoint men to be at the mouth of the cave, to guard them, lest they take themselves away. And the children of Israel did so. And Joshua called to all Israel, and said to the officers of battle, Place your feet upon the necks of these kings. And Joshua said, So shall the Lord do to all your enemies. And Joshua commanded afterward that they should slay the kings and cast them into the cave, and to put great stones at the mouth of the cave. And Joshua went afterward with all the people that were with him on that day to Makkedah, and he smote it with the edge of the sword. And he utterly destroyed the souls and all belonging to the city, and he did to the king and people thereof as he had done to Jericho. And he passed from there to Libnah, and he fought against it, and the Lord delivered it into his hand. And Joshua smote it with the edge of the sword, and all the souls thereof. And he did to it and to the king thereof as he had done to Jericho. And from there he passed on to Lachish to fight against it. And Horam, the king of Gaza, went up to assist the men of Lachish. And Joshua smote him and his people until there was none left to him. And Joshua took Lachish and all the people thereof, and he did to it as he had done to Libnah. And Joshua passed from there to Eglon, and he took that also, and he smote it, and all the people thereof with the edge of the sword. And from there he passed to Hebron, and fought against it, and took it, and utterly destroyed it. And he returned from there with all Israel to Debir, and fought against it, and smote it with the edge of the sword. And he destroyed every soul in it. He left none remaining, And he did it, and the king thereof, as he had done to Jericho. And Joshua smote all the kings of the Amorites from Kadesh Barnea to Azza, and he took their country at once, for the Lord had fought for Israel. And Joshua with all Israel came to the camp to Gilgal. When at that time Jabin, king of Chazor, heard all that Joshua had done to the kings of the Amorites, Jabin sent to Jobat, king of Midian, and Laban, king of Shimron, and Japal, king of Ashshap, and all the kings of the Amorites, saying, Come quickly to us, and help us, that we may smite the children of Israel, before they come upon us, and do unto us as they have done to the other kings of the Amorites. And all these kings hearkened to the words of Jabin, king of Chazor, and they went forth with all their camps, 17 kings, and their people were as numerous as the sand on the seashore, together with horses and chariots innumerable. And they came and pitched together at the waters of Merom, and they were met together to fight against Israel. And the Lord said to Joshua, Fear them not, for tomorrow about this time I will deliver them up all slain before you. Thou shalt huff their horses and burn their chariots with fire. And Joshua with all the men of war came suddenly upon them and smote them, and they fell into their hands, for the Lord had delivered them into the hands of the children of Israel. So the children of Israel pursued all these kings with their camps, and smote them till there was none left of them. And Joshua did to them as the Lord had spoken to him. And Joshua returned at that time to Chazor, to smote it with the sword, and destroyed every soul in it, and burned it with fire. And from Chazor Joshua passed to Shimron, and smote it, and utterly destroyed it. From there he passed to Achshap, and he did to it as he had done to Shimron. And from there he passed to Adullam, and he smote all the people in it. And he did to Adullam as he had done to Ashshap and to Shimron. And he passed from them to all the cities of the kings which he had smitten, and he smote all the people that were left of them, and he utterly destroyed them. Only their booty and cattle the Israelites took to themselves as prey, but every human being they smote. They suffered not a soul to live. As the Lord had commanded Moses, so did Joshua and all Israel. They failed not in anything. So Joshua and all the children of Israel smote the whole land of Canaan as the Lord had commanded them, and smote all their kings, being 31 kings, and the children of Israel took their whole country. Besides, the kingdoms of Sihon and Og, which are on the other side of the Jordan, of which Moses had smitten many cities, and Moses gave them to the Reubenites and the Gadites, and to half the tribe of Manasseh. And Joshua smote all the kings that were on this side Jordan to the west, and gave them for an inheritance to the 9 tribes and to the half tribe of Israel. For 5 years did Joshua carry on the war with these kings, and he gave their cities to the Israelites, and the land became tranquil from the battle throughout the cities of the Amorites and the Canaanites. The Book of Jasher, a captioned audiobook narrated by In His Word 2. Chapter 90. At that time, in the 5th year after the children of Israel had passed over Jordan, After the children of Israel had rested from their war with the Canaanites, at that time great and severe battles arose between Edom and the children of Chittim, and the children of Chittim fought against Edom. And Abianus, king of Chittim, went forth in that year, that is, the 31st year of his reign, and a great force with him of mighty men of the children of Chittim. And he went to Seir to fight against the children of Esau. And Hadad, the king of Edom, heard of his report, and he went forth to meet him with a heavy people and a strong force, and engaged in battle with him in the field of Edom. And the hand of Chittim prevailed over the children of Esau. And the children of Chittim slew of the children of Esau 22,000 men, and all the children of Esau fled from before them. And the children of Chittim pursued them, and they reached Hadad, king of Edom, who was running before them, and they caught him alive, and brought him to Abianus, king of Chittim. And Abianus ordered him to be slain, and Hadad, king of Edom, died in the 48th year of his reign. And the children of Chittim continued their pursuit of Edom, and they smote them with a great slaughter, and Edom became subject to the children of Chittim. And the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim, and became one kingdom from that day. And from that time they could no more lift up their heads, and their kingdom became one with the children of Chittim. And Abianus placed officers in Edom, and all the children of Edom became subject and tributary to Abianus, and Abianus turned back to his own land, Chittim. And when he returned, he renewed his government, and built for himself a spacious and fortified palace for a royal residence, and reigned securely over the children of Chittim and over Edom. In those days, after the children of Israel had driven away all the Canaanites and the Amorites, Joshua was old and advanced in years. And the Lord said to Joshua, Thou art old, advanced in life, and a great part of the land remains to be possessed. Now therefore, divide this land for an inheritance to the 9 tribes and to the half-tribe of Manasseh. And Joshua rose up and did as the Lord had spoken to him. And he divided the whole land to the tribes of Israel as an inheritance according to their divisions. But to the tribe at Levi he gave no inheritance. The offerings of the Lord are an inheritance, as the Lord had spoken of them by the hand of Moses. And Joshua gave Mount Hebron to Caleb the son of Jephunneh, one portion above his brethren, as the Lord had spoke through Moses. Therefore Hebron became an inheritance to Caleb and his children unto this day. And Joshua divided the whole land by lots to all Israel for an inheritance, as the Lord had commanded him. And the children of Israel gave cities to the Levites from their own inheritance, and suburbs for their cattle and property. As the Lord had commanded Moses, so did the children of Israel. And they divided the land by lot, whether great or small. And they went to inherit the land according to their boundaries. And the children of Israel gave to Joshua the son of Nun an inheritance amongst them. By the word of the Lord did they give to him the city which he required, Timnath Serach in Mount Ephraim, and he built the city and dwelt therein. These are the inheritance which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun And the heads of the fathers of the tribes proportioned out to the children of Israel by lot in Shiloh, before the Lord, at the door of the tabernacle. And they left off dividing the land. And the Lord gave the land to the Israelites, and they possessed it as the Lord had spoken to them, and as the Lord had sworn to their ancestors. And the Lord gave to the Israelites rest from all their enemies around them, and no man stood up against them. And the Lord delivered all their enemies into their hands, and not one thing failed of all the good which the Lord had spoken to the children of Israel. Yea, the Lord performed everything. And Joshua called to all the children of Israel, and they blessed them, and he blessed them, and commanded them to serve the Lord. And he afterward sent them away, and they went each man to his city, and each man to his inheritance. And the children of Israel served the Lord all the days of Joshua. And the Lord gave them rest from all around them, and they dwelt securely in their cities. And it came to pass in those days that Abianus king of Chittim died in the 38th year of his reign, that is, the 7th year of his reign over Edom. And they buried him in his place, which he had built for himself, and Latinus reigned in his stead 50 years. And during his reign he brought forth an army, and he went and fought against the inhabitants of Britannia and Kernania, and the children of Elisha son of Javan, and he prevailed over them, and made them tributary. He then heard that Edom had revolted from under the hand of Chittim, and Latinus went to them, and smote them, and subdued them, and placed them under the hand of the children of Chittim. And Edom became one kingdom with the children of Chittim all the days. And for many years there was no king of Edom, and their government was with the children of Chittim and their king. And it was in the 26th year after the children of Israel had passed the Jordan, that is, the 66th year after the children of Israel had departed from Egypt, that Joshua was old, advanced in years, being 108 years old in those days. And Joshua called to all Israel, to their elders, their judges, and officers, after the Lord had given to all the Israelites rest from all their enemies round about. And Joshua said to the elders of Israel and to their judges, Behold, I am old, advanced in years, and you have seen what the Lord has done to all the nations whom he has driven away from before you, for it is the Lord who has fought for you. Now therefore, strengthen yourselves to keep and to do all the words of the law of Moses, not to deviate to the right or to the left, and not to come again amongst those nations who are left in the land. Neither shall you make mention of the name of their gods, but you shall cleave to the Lord your God, as you have done to this day. And Joshua greatly exhorted the children of Israel to serve the Lord all their days. And all the Israelites said, We will serve the Lord our God all our days, we and our children, and our children's children, and our seed forever. And Joshua made a covenant with the people on that day, and he sent away the children of Israel, and they went each man to his inheritance and to his city. And it was in those days, when the children of Israel were dwelling securely in their cities, that they buried the coffins of the tribes of their ancestors, which they had brought up from Egypt, each man in the inheritance of his children. The 12 sons of Jacob did the children of Israel bury, each man in the possession of his children. And these are the names of the cities wherein they buried the 12 sons of Jacob, whom the children of Israel had brought up from Egypt. And they buried Reuben and Gad on this side of the Jordan in Ramah, which Moses had given to their children. And Simeon and Levi they buried in the city of Mauda, which he had given to the children of Simeon, and the suburb of the city was for the children of Levi. And Judah they buried in the city of Benjamin, opposite Bethlehem. And the bones of Issachar and Zebulun they buried in Zidon, in the portion which fell to their children. And Dan was buried in the city of his children in Eshtaol. And Naphtali and Asher they buried in Kadesh Naphtali, each man in his place which he had given to his children. And the bones of Joseph they buried in Shechem, in the part of the field which Jacob had purchased from Hamor, which became to Joseph for an inheritance. And they buried Benjamin in Jerusalem, opposite the Jebusite, which was given to the children of Benjamin. And the children of Israel buried their fathers, each man in the city of his children. And at the end of 2 years Joshua the son of Nun died, 110 years old, and the time which Joshua judged Israel was 28 years, and Israel served the Lord all the days of his life. And the other affairs of Joshua, and his battles, and his reproofs, with which he reproved Israel, and all which he had commanded them, and the names of the cities which the children of Israel possessed in his days, behold, they are written in the book of the words of Joshua to the children of Israel, and in the book of the wars of the Lord, which Moses and Joshua and the children of Israel had written. And the children of Israel buried Joshua in the border of his inheritance, in Timnath Serach, which was given to him in Mount Ephraim. And Eleazar the son of Aaron died in those days, and they buried him in a hill belonging to Phinehas his son, which was given him in Mount Ephraim. Chapter 91, which is the final chapter of the book of Jasher. At that time, after the death of Joshua, the children of the Canaanites were still in the land, and the Israelites resolved to drive them out. And the children of Israel asked of the Lord, saying, Who shall first go up for us to the Canaanites to fight against them? And the Lord said, Judah shall go up. And the children of Judah said to Simeon, Go up with us into our lot, and we will fight against the Canaanites, and we will likewise go up with you in your lot. So the children of Simeon went with the children of Judah. And the children of Judah went up and fought against the Canaanites. So the Lord delivered the Canaanites into the hands of the children of Judah, and they smote them in Bezek, 10,000 men. And they fought with Adoni-Bezek in Bezek, and he fled from before them. And they pursued him and caught him, and they took hold of him and cut off his thumbs and great toes. And Adoni-Bezek said, 70 kings, having their thumbs and great toes cut off, gathered their meat under my table, as I have done. So God has requited me. And they brought him to Jerusalem, and he died there. And the children of Simeon went with the children of Judah, and they smote the Canaanites with the edge of the sword. And the Lord was with the children of Judah, and they possessed the mountain. And the children of Joseph went up to Bethel, the same is Luz, and the Lord was with them. And the children of Joseph spied out Bethel, and the watchman saw a man going forth from the city. And they caught him, and said unto him, Show us now the entrance of the city, and we will show kindness to thee. And that man showed them the entrance of the city. And the children of Joseph came and smote the city with the edge of the sword. And the man with his family they sent away. And he went to the Hittites, and he built a city, and he called the name thereof Luz. So all the Israelites dwelt in their cities, and the children at Israel dwelt in their cities, and the children of Israel served the Lord all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders, who had lengthened their days after Joshua, and saw the great work of the Lord, which he had performed for Israel. And the elders judged Israel after the death of Joshua for 17 years. And all the elders also fought the battles of Israel against the Canaanites. And the Lord drove the Canaanites from before the children of Israel, in order to place the Israelites in their land. And he accomplished all the words which he had spoken to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the oath which he had sworn to give them and their children the land of the Canaanites. And the Lord gave to the children of Israel the whole land of Canaan, as he had sworn to their ancestors. And the Lord gave them rest from those around them, and the children of Israel dwelt securely in their cities. Blessed be the Lord forever. Amen and amen. Strengthen yourselves, and let the hearts of all you that trust in the Lord be of good courage. The end.